Hello. It's been a good bit since we've
Yeah.
recorded last.
I got put in probation.
Yeah, again.
Again, dude.
You need to stop breaking your parole.
I can't, dude. It's just so fun being naughty.
Crackhead energy.
I'm so good at being bad. But yeah, it's been a while since we recorded, like a month.
Yeah, last time we recorded, we were chugging yoo-hoos and sawing it up.
Yeah.
Better call sawing it up.
Yeah, we were.
And sadly, we don't have yoo-hoos this time.
We got water though.
We got water. Let's take a big swig.
All right, swig check.
Swig check. Just pop the microphone with plosives. But welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Chillcast. This is your first time listening. There is a fee you have to pay at the beginning. A link will come up on the screen. Just click that. Put in your parents' credit card number, and you'll be good. You'll be set. Also, we wouldn't mind if you gave us your social security number. That'd be cool too.
We need money.
Yeah, we need money.
I need money, dude.
In the words of Meat Canyon, I want money.
Who's Meat Canyon?
He made those cartoons, the really like visceral cartoons of like childhood characters, like Winnie the Pooh.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, he recently collaborated with a lot of YouTubers to like make like a merch
Let's
video.
look up Meat Canyon.
He made that cartoon about
Is
Blue's
it
Clues.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up the guy eating his son over the Sears catalog.
What? No, that has nothing to do with Meat Canyon. Look, Meat Canyon makes these like little like horrific
Oh, those
designs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I've seen Meat Canyon.
yeah,
Meat Canyon.
yeah. Like the Toy Story cartoon he did was really funny.
This is disgusting. It's Chester the Cheeto, but he's really wrinkly.
Yeah. I just like how distinctly visceral each drawing he does is. Like he did like the Mr. Beast video where it's like I put a bunch of hearts in different containers and this guy needs a heart donation, so he has to find it, and if he does, he'll get a new car or a Tesla or whatever.
You know what the style reminds me of?
What?
Sanjay and Craig.
You remember Sanjay and Craig?
Joey brought him up a few days ago.
That just sent me back.
It's like this. The guy eating his son.
Oh my gosh.
No, but yeah, Sanjay and Craig.
Sanjay and Craig.
I don't remember the intro. I just remember they like chicken wings.
Yeah.
Throw up, and
They liked throw up.
it was a really common thing in the show to throw up butts. Butts. And Snoop Dogg was on one episode.
Snoop Dogg was on Sanjay and Craig.
Snoop Dogg was on Sanjay and Craig, and he made like a weed smoking joke, but like it's Nickelodeon.
Oh my gosh, that show was something else.
It was that weird era of like cartoons where everything was kind of disgusting. Everyone was just grossly animated.
Well, yeah, because like boys have to like disgusting things. Like those toys they'd advertise in the 2000s, like the Trash Pals, collect them all, get the gold pizza sludge trash can character.
I do remember those.
Yeah.
Remember like Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket?
That sounds. What is that? I've heard of that. That sounds so familiar.
There's just like I remember going over to my friend's house. I didn't have like I had cable, but it was not the good plan. I had like all the Spanish channels and like Disney XD. So every time I went over to my friend's house, I was so excited to watch like Nickelodeon.
Sanjay and Craig. Peak television.
Yeah, Henry Day. It's like this like era of like kids channels where it's just really dumb.
Oh, you know what it was? I could tell they were trying to go after the hype that like regular show got, because I loved regular show. Yes, Pig Goat,
Banana, Cricket.
I remember. I didn't watch it because it would just looked like
disgusting.
But no, but like Sanjay and Craig, it came out after regular show, and they boardrooms were probably like
dude humor. What?
We need a character that has a friendship duo. No, sorry, we need a show that has a friendship duo and is disgusting. And even though the regular show wasn't that,
it was just weird, not disgusting.
It wasn't weird. It was weird. It wasn't disgusting, like you said. And then Sanjay and Craig was born, and
it was like really hairy men.
Yeah,
and like really small booty shorts,
sweat jokes, like fart jokes, vomit.
It was like the nastiest, like the lowest denominator of like booger eating.
Ugh. The only joke I remember laughing out loud to was their favorite hangout, was the wing place, and the person who worked there that Sanjay had a crush on, like the person that was obviously way older than him.
All right, let's look it up.
That's like the whole trope with a lot of those shows too.
Like Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls.
But like that was a bit better because like
Gravity Falls did it differently.
It was nuanced and it wasn't gross because
yeah,
it was just funny seeing Dipper be a little
yeah, but
little immature.
No, but with the Sanjay and Craig situation. Anyway, what I was saying was, the only joke that made me laugh hysterically was they got free wings because like the person who worked there was like, hey, no, yeah, that person.
Off-brand Wendy.
It really was off-brand Wendy.
It seems like this show was like manufactured in a factory by like a really dumb AI on what do kids like nowadays.
That's essentially what boardrooms do. But no, but the joke is like the employee working there was like, hey, somebody didn't show up for their order. You guys want these wings? And they were like sitting out for too long or something, or they weren't cooked all the way, and they ate them, and then they started throwing up in the back alley. And they were throwing up so hard that they were hallucinating, and the wings came to life and said, "We'll give you some Manila," in that voice. And I was like, and I just started laughing hysterically. That clip was unironically funny. Yeah. But other than that, it was fake stoner jokes.
It was stoners before stoners. And the animation style kind of reminds me of like what adult animated shows look like.
Yeah.
It's that same gross style where it's like, oh, we're trying to be gritty because it's cool.
Edgy, gross fart noise. Ooh. Vomit.
Like, there's so many adult shows, like Border Town. I don't know. Do you remember that one?
No. You remember, this was fairly recent, but remember Hoops?
Hoops. I remember we talked about this, but I can't. I think I forgot it like automatically.
Netflix has like a huge line of commissioned like adult cartoons that look exactly the same and have the same plot, and they just rely on like the names of the voice actors for the show to be popular.
Mm-hmm. Seth Rogen.
Like there's like something PD. There's Hoops.
Paradise PD.
There's the Prince.
Yeah.
Like the one about the royal family that is just knockoff Family Guy.
Yeah.
But the jokes don't land.
It's like, remember this one? It was called like Melrose or some stuff. It was like poking fun at like 2016's like hype beast culture.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's some of the most it's like all these other just face value self-aware jokes about society and that they're an adult show.
Ooh.
They're so unique, but they're not.
I think the most recent adult show to come out that I actually enjoyed was Smiling Friends.
It's somehow, it's so grotesque, but like it's so.
Smiling Friends does what Sanjay and Craig couldn't do.
Yeah, it's gross, but like there's some nice, there's a wittiness to it.
Yeah, and just the humor is so abstract. Like one of my favorite bits is when Pim and Charlie are trying to figure out who murdered Simon S. Salty. They're talking to the crazy twins or whatever they're called, and there's just these two little beings with eyeballs, like giant eyeballs. They go, and they're like running around in circles, and then it like slowly fades into like a visual like story of them telling what their memory was of the situation, and they're just in space, and there's a bunch of scribbles, and it makes no sense, and like that's supposed to be them like telling their side of the story, or their like account, and then it cuts back, and Pim's like, okay, well, that's all well and good, but what does this have to do with the murder of Simon? And then Charlie's like, Pim, you could understand them. And then one of them, and then not only was that funny, but before you can even laugh at that joke, one of them spits on Pim, and he's like, and then as he's leaving, they're like, oh man, I can't believe we haven't figured this caper out yet. And then Pim's like, sorry, I can't focus. Whatever they spit on me is burning and itching.
That's one of my favorite things. It's like. So dumb from Smiling Friends, but it's the wine bottle .jpeg.
What?
In one of the shots, it's like they're in the kitchen, and they just have a wine bottle image, like an actual just image of a wine bottle .jpeg put in there.
In like the background?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like it does well with this adult, nasty, like amateur. I feel like I would like to call the animation style format.
Yeah,
and like it plays off in some with the humor because not just inherently it's gross, but like it's a tasteful gross. Then throw up and chicken wings.
No, Sanjay and Craig was such an interesting show. All I remember is that obviously Craig could talk. His dad was basically like a knockoff version of the Johnny Test dad, I think, or something. I remember feeling those vibes about him, like, oh, he's basically just this character. And I think, yeah. I remember him having a crush on the person who worked at the wing place.
Yeah.
And I remember one episode was about them going to Monster Truck Derby because it's epic monster trucks, video
It
games.
gives off the same energy as like, I don't know, the booger eating kid.
Ugh.
It gives off the same energy as the cheese from the Cheese Touch from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Exactly. I think what's funny. Speaking of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I was thinking about this yesterday. How like a lot of people say that like Greg was kind of like a psychopath or a sociopath.
There's a whole video on it that
Yeah.
started this whole conversation by Monkey Jones, and he's his character.
Yeah, but because like he's just not in check with other people's emotions. He doesn't really care. He's very selfish.
Yeah.
In his friendships, like with Rowley and everything. But it's supposed to be funny. But it's like he's just overtly selfish and self-serving in relationships. But other than that, the point was me bringing this up. Wait, what was it? Everyone be kid. Oh, there's in one of the first few books they talk about their strategies of avoiding taking showers. I'm like, dude, what is it? Stop telling young boys to not shower.
Like, this makes you think.
That just perpetuates the problem of middle school of guys smelling horrible because they don't bathe. Like, you know, that whole trope is like, oh, guys don't bathe, they're stinky, ew. It's because they're learning from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Did
and
that
like,
happen at your middle school?
well, no, it's just like if anybody was going to like smell bad or whatever, it's like, oh, you know, the whole trope of like, oh, guys locker room, oh, it smells so bad because guys stink. That whole trope, you know, and everything. The reason it exists in society at all is because it's perpetuated by media that kids watch, and like, oh, I'm a guy, I must be stinky.
And I feel like
I mean, that's not 100% accurate. That's not true. It's not everybody.
it's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype. But the reason there's any truth to that stereotype is because some kids see that in media and accept that as normal.
Yeah, no, because I was thinking, I think about this like every 2 weeks where like I put a little bit of thought, I think a bit about life. And I'm like, are boys just naturally like this, or is it just the media that kind of just perpetuates? Boys are gross. They're supposed to hate girls. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, the whole cooties thing.
Yeah.
Like that was it. I didn't think of that. I didn't think, you know, I wasn't afraid of getting cooties until, well, I was never afraid, but like I never even considered that idea until, you know, I watched like or read Diary of a Wimpy Kid or watched stuff like that.
It's like a societal construct that they're performing, and I don't like. What is there to gain?
It's just further continuing the problems with like the long-term problems with different gender roles in society and everything.
Like, there's no reason. This is very like r/deep. It's such a like a small nuanced take, but it's like, why are we just getting like, why are little boys just fed? Oh, girls are nasty. You're supposed to be dirty. You're supposed to like that. Girls are. You're supposed
to like dirt. Well, it's like with the trash toys, like collect all the trash collectibles with a pizza trash can sludge popsicle character.
And it's like girls are sensitive, while boys are. I don't want to go out on a limb and say it's perpetuating toxic masculinity in a way, but it kind of is. I mean, like girls are sensitive, boys are supposed to be bad and badass and beat up each other
and like fire and explosions,
and they're not supposed to have emotions and. It's innocent and it's nature. It's just Mattel and Hasbro trying to make a few extra bucks.
Yeah.
But like, this has made me fear mongering. But it's like it just leads to like men become like boys growing up into men who are insecure, don't like feminine stuff,
and get terrified at being somewhat traditionally feminine
or emotional. And it's like, especially here in a more southern, more conservative place where it's like, oh, men crying,
nah. It's like that's why I don't know if you saw, I posted like a story on Instagram about like it's like mental awareness month, and mental health awareness month, and those statistics are pretty telling of, you know, the reason those statistics are so high is because in society even now guys aren't given a place to be emotional. Like it's getting better. Like obviously I feel like I'm allowed to express emotions with my friends and have emotional conversations and be honest and be vulnerable around people. But that's not true for every guy. Like a lot of guys are in, you know, situations where their family, like their dad will refuse to like connect with them emotionally because it's not guy stuff. You know, you have to be tough all the time. You can't cry.
And that kind of reminds me, like, a few weeks, like a year ago, I was watching these videos. I'm sorry if I'm kind of just hijacking it, but it just reminds me of this video where I kind of went down like a weird rabbit hole of like Mexican femicide. And femicide is, for people, it's in the thing, just essentially the intentional murder of a woman. It's insanely high in Mexico. It is insane.
Like even now?
Like during quarantine, it spiked heavily.
Oh my gosh.
Because in Mexico, they have this term called machismo. Machismo is how it's pronounced, but I'll say it in an English accent. Machismo, where it's an uber hardened version of toxic masculinity. Men are supposed to work and provide. The mom takes care. It's the ultimate, like the conservative thing, but it's the way they live. Every single one. All my family members in Mexico live by that lifestyle. Men work, women provide. And it leads to like these insane power dynamics where the men have all the power. Of course, if they're the ones providing, they have the money, they can do whatever they want. And it leads to like them lashing out on women because they're lower. Mm-hmm. They're not equal to men because they're dainty. They're not as powerful. And
they don't collect trash pals like we do.
So it's like when men don't get their way in like these really uber masculine cultures like Mexico, they kill women. And
oh my gosh.
Okay, am I allowed to talk about this? Like say the word kill?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
we're not monetized.
Yeah, they're not monetizing. No, but like they take it out on women. It's insane. Like I heard stories of like relatives who know people or in the family where they take it out on women. It is casual. It's so casual.
And the fact that it still exists is insanely depressing.
I was talking to one of my uncles who I just met, and we just brought that up one night. We just started talking about it. And then when I got back from Mexico, my mom brought us like, oh yeah, that just happened. And there's no like, are they okay? They're married. Like people I'm talking about right now who are like went through like a super abusive relationship, they're still married and they're still okay with it. It's like, well, here it's bad. It's equally as bad, or if not worse. It's insane. Like, it's not safe to be in most big cities or like cultures. It's not really safe to be a woman, but in Mexico, it's like no.
And like, some areas in the Middle East, you've heard of honor killings, right?
No.
Basically, if a woman cheats on their spouse or what else? I think if the woman like has sex out of wedlock or something like that, or let me look this up because I don't want to get this wrong, but like basically.
All right, he's going on Google.com. He just typed in Google. Now he's typing up the results.
Because I was just reading about this in a textbook. Mm-hmm. Honor killing, most often the murder of a woman or girl by male family members. The killers justify their actions by claiming that the victim has brought dishonor upon the family name or prestige.
So like any bad act.
Any bad act, you typically sexual or something like that, that is against the family's wishes. A person's own father will kill them, and simply because they're a woman and they did such thing, something, and that was not. Sometimes if like women are raped, they're you were doing it with a person who you're not married to.
Yeah.
Honor killing.
Yeah.
And that just exists now. Still.
But like,
just imagine you do something like that, and you're horribly traumatized, and you try to seek support from your parents, and your dad just goes, "Oh, I gotta kill you."
Yeah. Like, what's another 18 years?
Like, oh my gosh.
But like, I feel like stuff like that is also like people use that for like reasons to hate Muslims.
It's
the wrong interpretation of such a horrible act to justify your horrible actions.
Hate on the fact that on the people who are actually performing these acts, not because of their religion.
Yeah, it's not. It's such a not loose correlation. It just doesn't make it's just justification.
Like, a better thing to say is don't generalize.
You generalize.
Like, because Christians have done horrible things and still do horrible things currently. Like with what are they called? Like, not re-education, but like conversion.
Yeah, conversion. It's like conversion. There's like conversion camps and like, remember like talked about like Native, like America's also done similar stuff where they like we're just talking about atrocities right now.
Yeah, like Native American assimilation.
Yeah, assimilation programs. Kill the Indian, not the man, quote unquote.
And yeah, so we can go on a whole rabbit hole about how those in religious groups have used their religion to justify bad things, but you can't generalize with that religion, because there are still people. It's just you have to despise the people who are within that religion that are doing those acts, not the other people that just happen to be in the same religion.
It's issues with the subculture itself. It's not the whole subculture. It's like the thing about Mexico is like same thing, the femicide. Someone can use that argument that men are more. They're like, oh, us Americans aren't like that, so the Mexicans are so behind and they're so backwards and lead to a racial tirade.
Yeah,
but like that's not the focus. You're taking it away to shift it to your agenda.
You're missing the point. Like, yeah, you can't. It's like, oh, that guy with the red hat, he just murdered someone. So people with red hats gotta go. No.
No, it's a deeper, more nuanced issue.
Yeah, life is not black and white.
But also, I just remember something about the men's mental health. I remember someone bringing up how like men's mental health matters. Like, this is just me like voicing out someone else's opinion, but they're like, when someone like a woman tries to take care of like a man views it like as a, most men are P-minded, so like, oh, this woman cares for me, she can do stuff for me. So some women, I feel like, no, I don't know where I'm going. She was saying like, yeah, some men use that like mental health as like an excuse to like use women in a way.
But you can't generalize that. Perpetuating that idea is going to keep guys who are legitimately hurting and have legitimate mental illness and have struggles that's going to keep them from expressing their emotions in a healthy way, because they think girls are going to think that they're using that.
The generalization is kind of perpetuating.
I'd be very careful with saying that, because that affects the other people on the end of like, the gender, like mental health spectrum. It's like, there are guys who think they can't express themselves in society, and then there are guys who know that they can, and if they hear that the people like that exist, it's not going to be inviting or encouraging for them to actually, because they're going to think, oh, well, now people are going to think, I want attention.
Yeah, it's kind of causing more harm than good.
Yeah, so you can talk about like, oh yeah, there's this one guy who used that mental health as a way to get with this girl, and obviously he wasn't this great guy after all. That you can talk about stories like that, but you can't associate that with the larger population, because then that's just going to be do more harm.
Yeah, it's like how we're talking about with the honor killings, femicide. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, guys, you have mental health. You have a brain. You need mental health to exist. It's important just as much as physical health, because everything psychological is biological. Everything biological is psychological. So talk to people, talk to your family, talk to friends. If you need to, get medicated. If you don't. Take care of yourself.
I remember that Keemstar tweet where he was like, anyone with mental illness, listen to me. Just take a few sips of beer.
Yeah, he's the expert. Yeah, listen to Keemstar over here.
Listen to Keemstar, the guy dating a 20-year-old girl.
Well, wait, what was like there were like recent memes about Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Oh yeah, where he broke up with his girlfriend because she just turned 25 or something like that.
Some comedian was like, oh, this new up and coming actress, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're too young or you're too old for Leonardo DiCaprio, and she's like 20 or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, sorry, too old.
It's almost like that Ben Shapiro tweet. It's like, Leonardo DiCaprio breaks up with his girlfriend, and then like Ben Shapiro says, oh, so he can witness the birth of his new girlfriend.
Oh gosh,
it's like the one and only time the man ever said something of value,
of actual interest, of something interesting other than, okay, well, the sake of the argument, hypothetically, okay, for the Tiny Hitler, for the sake of the argument, Ben, what are you talking about? I asked you what you want for dinner.
Hypothetically speaking.
Okay, so Tiny Hitler, if you had a steak, Tiny Hitler.
It's like, how does he make up a whole argument? He's fighting his own minds, dude.
I watched him like I watched an interview he did with, or like a video he did with Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? Space guy.
Mm-hmm. Which
And-
one? There's a lot. Neil deGrasse Tyson. You're talking about him? Yeah.
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 And it was so frustrating because the whole time he's like, "Oh, I really respect your work," blah blah blah. But then he's like, "Oh, but I disagree with you. I disagree with you on this or whatever." And his argument was just so, I can't even
Flawed.
remember it. It was just so flawed.
It's like he can win against like a 17-year-old person who's on the internet. Of course he can. You're arguing against. It's like a professional soccer player saying I can beat up a local rec league player in Georgia. Yeah, you can. You don't need to prove it to us.
Yeah.
But when they actually get into like an argument with someone who can form complex, nuanced, intricate arguments,
Yeah,
they crumble. Like
they crumble.
Like remember that guy, the Change My Mind guy?
Steven Crowder.
Yeah, Steven Crowder.
Ladder with Crowder.
Yeah, Ladder with Crowder, dude. He got in an argument with like a coal miner, and he got like, I want to say obliterated because that's such a wrong term, but like he lost the argument essentially because he argued someone who actually lived in world experience, not some 19-year-old college student who's doing a poli-sci class.
Yeah. Well, it's like watching him talk with people who disagree with him. Of course, he's not going to change his opinion. Humans don't do that. It takes a lot of work for you to actually
It's
somewhat
all internal.
change. Yeah, it's like when you're wrong or you're proven wrong about something, it activates the same spot of your brain that activates when you feel pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people are so prideful, naturally, and that's why it's a lot of work to swallow your pride sometimes. Like the nicest guy will sit with him and like talk to him about like his views on like gender, and he's like, "Oh, well, actually, I disagree," and he says why, and then the guy's like, "Well, I can't really argue with you because there's no way to argue with you about this."
It's such a fundamental difference, and he needs something else, like a wake-up call inside of him.
Yeah, and so he's like, the guy was like really cool about it. He's like, I can't really argue with you right now. I don't really know how to have this conversation. I'll thanks for having me on. And he shook his hand and left.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Steven Crowder was like, "Oh, it's a nice guy." Anyway, next, actually, I hate this, and just like he just went back to being himself. And I was like, "Oh man, this sucks." Just the whole concept of the show is really doofy too. It's like, no, you're not gonna change your mind.
No one's gonna change. You just want to show how smarter that you are, and
then
how
you're
you're not gonna change your mind. Be stubborn and embarrass these people, so you can look better.
He's trying to own people on TV, or on whatever format or media format
on YouTube
media.
because no
YouTube.
TV show would ever give him money.
No,
But like, it's like this content also like same thing like with like Sanjay and Craig trash toys, but like on a much more extreme, teaching like mostly young little growing adolescents. I'm using a lot of words right now that mean nothing. Growing boys, these really almost alt-right conservative ideas.
yeah, they're trying to get that mentality into them at a young age where they don't have enough experience with the world to have a more well-rounded perspective. It's like, I'm not going to say that it's indoctrination because it's not indoctrination because people more right-leaning say that like teaching kids about the LGBT community is indoctrination. It's like, no, it's not. It's teaching people about the world and the fact that people exist.
It's going down the wrong pipeline.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like kind of reminded me of like a video I was watching on how this one guy who was like a really like not critically acclaimed, but he was a respected YouTuber who quickly became an Andrew Tate shill to our right-wing conservative mouthpiece, where he gets like Nick Fuentes. You know who Nick Fuentes is, right?
No.
Essentially a really anti-Semitic uber conservative who's been banned on every single platform, and he gave him a voice to an audience of like 20,000 people.
Oh my God.
And I feel like that's what stuff like Crowder and Shapiro kind of lead to anti-Semitic, racist, claiming that Jewish people control the media, Africa is only poor because of their low IQ. These really bad views just from like simple just really simple liberals getting owned by Crowder.
Yeah.
And then there's like going back, it's like misunderstanding. It's like these like Africa not having a good IQ and being poor. If you put like a second of thought and realize, oh, why are they poor? oh, they don't have a lot of money. Why? Because Europe and America has ransacked all their resources and gave them nothing for support for actual good infrastructure. So now they're having to build up something with nothing. So yeah, that's why they have a low literacy rate.
Wait a second. It's like, their audience base is mainly comprised of, alt-right adults and impressionable, like 13-year-olds who decided one day, I'm going to become political. Have you seen that meme where it's like the person's like, me when I'm 13, I'm going to become political, and then it shows them like going across like the chart of like different political opinions.
Yeah.
It's like an axis, like it's like a big like grid. It's like over here, and they bounce around like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So they're bouncing around every day. They're just like wearing different hats. Like next day they're wearing like a Russian like snow hat, and the next day they're like, oh, oh yeah. Next day like, oh, I'm all left. Oh, now I'm all right. Oh, and they keep like, because like they're super impressionable and they're still figuring out who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd argue you're always figuring out who you are, but
yeah, until like you're an adult.
Yeah,
and you're still trying to learn if you're an adult.
Exactly. Like I'm 19. I don't consider myself an adult yet.
But
yeah, it's frustrating. I've seen people on this campus. There's this one guy who I see from time to time on his computer. And he has a huge like Louder with Crowder sticker, and he has like a mean. I'm not trying to diss the guy, but like he has like his resting face is like very aggressive.
RBF, if you will.
Yeah. And so like I don't know, just the image of him like on his computer furiously typing with that sticker. I'm like, he's probably trying to like own someone online, He's probably just doing homework. But I just think it's funny.
It's a perception he's giving off.
Yeah, I wouldn't. He just doesn't have a very approachable atmosphere around him. So, but I just think it's funny.
It's also like talk about like political. Me at 13 bouncing around political opinions. It reminds me of like how like on TikTok and a lot of people are acknowledging this like alt-right to like LGBT pathway. A lot of people have gone down. Like in 13, 14, like leafy, pyrocynical. Essentially, I'm trying to think of some other YouTube channels like not Rice Gum, but like these owning the kids, iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, offensive, rude, slightly homophobic in a way, like YouTubers, and then by like the end of high school, they're a completely changed person. Like you've seen this stuff before.
The audience or the YouTube people?
The audience, mostly the audience.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're like, I went down that pathway. I was that kid who was like, oh,
I'm owning the libs.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm offensive and people are getting offended. Not really owning the libs because that's
facts don't care about your feelings.
Facts don't care about your feelings. It's like that, and then you realize, oh wait, these are man children spouting views. And you're like, oh. You go down a different internet wormhole, then boom, you become a lot more accepting. You become a better person.
I remember watching a clip of like Ben Shapiro at some sort of convention, and like a 16 or 17-year-old was like, basically started a conversation with him about like being transgender. And of course, Ben Shapiro was not for that, and he like dropped this like weird, unrelevant argument, and then the guy's like, but because the kid wasn't prepared to like defend his opinion, and he got kind of embarrassed. He's like, oh, and
he stuttered.
He stuttered, and he wasn't able to defend his position really, really well because he was like nervous, and of course it looks like Ben Shapiro. And the video title was uploaded by probably one of his fans, like Ben Shapiro owns 17-year-old or something like that, or owns guy at convention.
Kobe Bryant dunks on a 14-year-old.
It's just like, wow, okay.
Oh my! Then I'm pretty sure there's also clips of like Ben Shapiro like on Fox News arguing, like talking to other people with like more political experience, and he's not holding his own.
We should go on political talk shows and just like have no idea, pretend like we have. To be fair, I wouldn't be a great political commentator, but like it'd be really funny if we got on like Fox News or CNN or any news outlet, and we just like they ask us about our opinions, not in an aggressive way, maybe they're like, oh, what do you think about this issue, and we just we make it so obvious that we don't know what we're talking about. Like it's like, oh, so what do you think about abortion? Well,
a lot of sentence starters. It's like your psych teacher.
Yeah. You just keep adding sentence starters. You're like, okay, well, if you think about it, okay, well, in terms of this, okay, well, if you think about it this way, and then like you're
on
like
on
the contrary, and I was gonna say like you finally get to your point. And you're like, well, I think if you're in space and the ship is gonna crash, you should be able to abort. And they're like, what? And you're like, yeah, like if you're in space on a mission, I mean, we can all agree, like if the ship's going to crash, you should be able to abort.
It's like some stuff. It's like the stuff K. Strauss did. Mark Proch.
Yeah, the guy who toured
Who
different
toured the Midwest.
and did different like news broadcasts where he tried to teach the kids about the environment with the yo-yo, but it was all fake.
And he just complained about like his like fake wife divorcing him, or like his car breaking down, or like him about to lose his job. So he just, all it was just him fucking with news outlets.
And every time he tried to do a cool trick, he'd get close to doing one, and he would just like either hurt himself or break the yo-yo in the process.
And then they have to cut the segment short.
Yeah, it's just like because they can't cut it completely. Then it's like and he'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. It's like, oh no, it's fine.
It's like local news, so they needed someone to come on. So he just filled the void with utter garbage. For comedic value.
It was really fun. Those videos are great. What for the audience? What should they look up?
Just look up K. Strauss Ultimate Compilation. It's like 20 minutes.
K. Strauss.
Yeah, letter K hyphen STRAUSS. K. Strauss.
The Fitnessgram Pacer test.
I was thinking more like a spelling bee.
Could you use it in a sentence?
K. Strauss threw yo-yos around the WKTV studio and broke a TV.
And almost hurt himself. Or have you ever done a spelling bee before?
Yeah, I got second place.
Like nice.
At a school-wide, I misspelled celebrate, and I'm still hung up over it because it was like the era FNAF came out, and I remember like the FNAF 1 poster that said celebrate, and I misspelled it, and I was beating myself up for the rest of the day for it. How about you? I
got to like, if not second, but a pretty high place in comparison to like how many people were participating, and it was like a school-wide spelling bee. I got pretty high up there on the ranks, but I didn't win because I misspelled bona fide. And my dad jokes with me about that all the time. He's like, oh, that person's pretty bona fide. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. But my sister, she made it to like the state competition, the state spelling bee, and she got close to winning, but I think got like second or third or something because she misspelled compass, I think, because she misheard them and she thought they said campus. Or maybe it's the other way around, but basically she spelled one word
and not the other.
But yeah, she made it to state, and it was pretty cool. I think she has like a medal or a trophy or something.
Spelling bees are weird because like, how are you? Is it just like a competition to give like kids an ego boost, or is it like, oh, do we need to learn how to spell a word?
Have you seen that video of that? Like, I don't know if it was like a national competition or like some competition somewhere else. I don't know where it was hosted, but this one guy, it was edited to be like a Curb Your Enthusiasm meme.
Yeah.
But so this guy is sitting behind this other guy. He's up, the kid, and the kid's like spelling out a word and he misspells it, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, the word was actually spelled blah blah blah," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and he was kind of sad and he kind of sunk down to his chair, and the guy next to him like clapped, like because they were competing, and he like clapped like sarcastically, like, "Oh, good job," like with his body motions, like clapping, like, "Oh, good job, ha ha ha, you're dumb," like just like that kind of vibe with his like sarcastic slow claps. And of course the kid's kind of like withdrawn because he misspelled it, right?
Yeah.
But then he gets up there and they're like, "Spell this," and he's like, "Not this, but spell this word," and he was like, he messed it up within the first few seconds. And it was like, because he immediately got it wrong. Like, I think within a few seconds.
Spell this. THIS. Oh. But like, I remember this. I was thinking about it when you brought up spelling bee. This is one kid in my middle school. Anytime we did a spelling bee, he was always the first to get out. Like, the teacher was like, "Spell turtle," and he was like, B squared plus 4C, and like it was the funniest thing in middle school. But looking back, it was lame. Play along with it, even though they're kind of weird spelling bees. But like, just play along with it. Don't be that kid to get out because you don't care.
Edgy teen. Sanjay and Craig chicken wing vomit trash can.
Ben Shapiro.
Dude, if they had Ben Shapiro on Sanjay and Craig, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been awful.
He plays the the employee, the person Sanjay has a crush on.
Yeah.
He plays like her dad or something, and he's like, oh, for the sake of the argument, if you want to date my daughter, Tiny Hitler.
What do you mean, Tiny Hitler?
I heard that he like had a discussion on like a podcast about like baby Hitler or tiny Hitler.
If you kill Hitler as a child, would you be praised?
Or something like that. I don't know. Some sort of like, I don't know. Just the idea of him having that conversation and spending that much time on it, like on some sort of platform that's not comedic. Like, I think it'd be funny if we, like posting hypotheticals in a comedic setting is funny, but doing it on like a legitimate like podcast or discuss political outlet, whatever.
And it's an idea so ridiculous as Tiny Hitler.
Tiny Hitler. I don't even know if it was Tiny Hitler or Baby Hitler, but just saying Tiny Hitler is funnier. It's like, imagine him going, for the sake of the argument, Tiny Hitler, would you put him in a box? Would you give him green eggs and ham?
How many grapes could he eat before he gets full?
So why does it matter that he's Hitler? Just answer the question.
Don't worry about the specifics.
One day we just happened upon Ben Shapiro's house, and he just like has like a Nazi uniform in his back room.
Like that one hypothetical?
Yeah, like our past teacher. Who I think Joe. No, I think I don't know if I posed the hypothetical to Joey.
I think it was you.
I posed a hypothetical to Joey, a member of the Chillcast crew, a while ago. Like back when we were in high school. Like what if one of our teachers like pulled him aside and he was like, hey, I have something to show you. And then he brought him back to his like secret office, and there was just like a Nazi uniform and memorabilia and like a time machine and everything. And just pictures of him with his family like at like events, like Nazi events. And it's like, what if he's like a time traveler hiding this like dark past?
And he's just working as a high school film teacher.
Yeah. I know. I just think it's really funny. But yeah, for the sake of the argument, Tiny Hitler.
For the sake of the argument, his teacher has Hitler uniform in his room.
Just answer the question.
Oh, did you see what happened with Elon Musk's verification thing?
No.
It failed, of course.
How does it work?
You know what he released for like 3 hours before he got rid of it? He put a tag that said official. So essentially, you could have bought everyone's heard of it. You can buy your verification now, which is so dumb. So he released a new verification system. So to know that they're the actual account and not the one who just bought Twitter Blue for the check mark, he put official next to their name. So it kind of undid the purpose of the check mark. No, not undid it. He released a new version of the check mark, and then he scrapped that feature. So the new feature is now you can click the profile and see if they have the check mark because they're either reputable, a celebrity, or they bought it. And like, I don't know how he got away with repackaging an idea again.
That's so funny.
Like, remember the Hyperloop?
No. What was that?
It's essentially this idea to reduce LA traffic by building an underground system for your car to go at really fast speeds. What does this sound like to you, Alex?
Cyberpunk?
A subway.
He
released a subway. But you have to buy a car. You have to own a Tesla to do it. So it's a really expensive and dumb way to do a subway.
Next he's going to be like, okay, guys, you know how you need water to live? I'm going to start selling bottled water.
At an upcharge rate. That's all he's doing. He's repackaging it to idiots. To literal idiots who never heard of, who don't realize what a subway is or don't know, hey, giving everyone a check mark kind of reduces the power of a check mark. But no.
How much does it cost to be verified?
$8 a month. For nothing. It's literally
it's a subscription.
Money. Yeah, you're getting nothing. You can edit your tweets, but that's it. It's just saying. His whole advertisement was like, "Oh, you get power. Your voice can be heard." No, they're not gonna listen to random anime profile picture who has really bad takes on racial issues with the blue just because it's a check mark. I can imagine it like it's like a profile picture of like a Naruto character and Markiplier at the same time. Not to diss Markiplier, I'm a fan of his, but like it's a Markiplier or some sort of anime picture, and then it's like, actually I think, and then just something really, really off base, really racist.
Yeah,
really, and it's verified. If it means nothing now because you're paying for nothing. You're paying for a status symbol. It's not even an internet status symbol. It's nothing.
It's like I have 4 followers on Twitter. So does that mean that I can be verified for $8 a month?
You could make the Chillcast Twitter account verified.
That's so silly. It doesn't feel earned or anything.
You don't feel like you've got a platform. You just paid for it.
It's the same thing with like buying subscribers.
Yeah.
It's like
no one's gonna listen to you. No one cares.
like, I don't. That's not why I'm in this. You know, I enjoy making podcasts. I enjoy making videos and music. I want people to listen to it. I don't want the image of people listening to my stuff.
It's just a vanity. You look at it for more than 2 seconds. Oh, 1,000 subscribers, 5 views. Wonder what's going on there.
Oh, wait a second.
Guys verified, 8 followers.
Okay. For the sake of the argument, tiny subscriber.
Tiny check mark.
Tiny check mark. If you put that on Twitter, Elon Musk, you're telling me I can buy my subscription? What does that say about the terraforming of Mars, huh?
So, you hear about the election, right?
Yeah.
We're going into a runoff, baby.
Oh, snap.
Because Warnock, it qualified for a runoff because Warnock had a lead of less than a percentage. So next month we got to vote. And if you can vote, I don't know how old y'all are, go vote.
Go vote. We're not going to tell you what to vote. Vote for yourself, but vote. It's important that you vote because if you're able to vote and you don't, you can't complain.
Yeah. You're part of, well, democracy is kind of skewed, but you have some power to try to take it into your own hands.
I've known people who were like, man, I hate society or this or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I hate this, like a person in office. Oh, did you vote? No, I didn't vote. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's like a nihilistic, edgy way of like, oh, I don't need to vote because nothing will change. Well, if you view it that way, then yeah, nothing's going to change.
And there are a bunch of other people like that who also feel the same way. And they're not going to vote, and therefore, of course, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, the biggest party in America, people say, is like the people who don't vote. So we just vote, man. Don't be, I don't need to vote. You're part of the issue on why nothing's really changing. Because it's like the bullying thing where, like, if you're a bystander, you're as bad as the bully because you know something's happening.
And you're just letting it happen.
Yeah, the same thing. You're letting this happen. So, please vote.
Please. I'll give you a cheeseburger. Please. Oh, we're quoting a video where a guy's talking to his
phone.
talking to his girlfriend.
I don't know. It's just some weird guy just begging for someone to come back, and it's really funny. It's not really funny when we have to explain it, but
yeah,
now you know it exists.
Now it's a video. It's a small example of why the internet is amazing.
And like I think it's better if you try to look it up, like man begging, please, cheeseburger guy.
Yeah,
it's
babe, come back. I'll give you a cheeseburger.
Just typing that into your search engine and finding nothing because Google does not know what to decipher those words from.
One of my favorite videos that Joey's ever like shown me is the one where it's the guy yelling at his phone. He goes, I hate this phone I got. Every time I try to take a picture, and he's like yelling so loud that the camera microphone is like peaking to where you can't hear anything, and the quality is like dropping as he yells, and it's weird. And then in the background, you hear one of his friends say, "Why don't you get a new one?" And the video just ends.
I think you're talking about the moonshine video.
No, that's a different
one. The guy
one.
with the snake.
The guy going, I love moonshine.
These snakes are scared of me.
I have this snake won't bite me because I drink so much alcohol. But the guy's like, I hate this phone I got. And he's just yelling at his phone.
Hypothetically, I hate this phone. Tiny phone.
Tiny phone, camera no work. If the camera was swallowing grapes. But no. Oh, there's another video where it's like this guy. It's just like I love those obscure internet videos where like this one guy is like, check it out. I have like 300 packs of Marlboros. Like he just went to the gas station and bought. No, either he stole them or he bought them. He's like, check it out. I just found this. I can't remember but basically he had like 300 boxes of cigarettes. And he's like, check this out. Look what I got. Like
the best people on the internet.
What a flex. It's like the that video I showed you, like homeless guy eats shit. It's not even real, but it's like a poorly done like skit that it's not clear whether it's supposed to be bad or not. I think it's supposed to be bad, but it's like, this guy, they filmed it in front of a green screen when it would have been cheaper to just film during the day at a street corner, but they chose to do a green screen. And the guy walks up to this guy who's like, change. Anybody want to give me change? He goes, huh, you think I'd give you money? I see you here every single day. I'm not going to give you money. Fuck you, dumpster baby. Fuck you.
I was going to pay you.
And then somebody else goes, gives him some change, and he's like, oh, thanks. And the next day he's like, you know what? I got you some fudge. I hope you like this stuff. He's like, oh, thanks for the fudge. Oh, this is good fudge. Wait a second. Oh, that's crap. And the video just ends. It's one of the best skits on YouTube. We just explained the entire plot, but you should still watch it for the sake of watching the video. It's really funny.
It's better when they do it.
You think I'm going to give you money? Fuck you, dumpster baby. Just like imagine that being a real interaction, like how aggressive like that person has to be.
Green screen. Neil Green. What's his name again?
Who?
The guy who makes like really crappy movies on green screens. Neil Breen.
Yeah, Neil Breen.
Yeah, Neil. It's like that.
Have you seen that? Have you seen one of his movies?
No, I don't want to.
I saw a clip. Somebody was like dubbing over it, like voicing the characters. Like it was. You ever heard of Djibouti dubs?
No.
They dub over commercials and stuff, and they're pretty famous for that. Like they have this video series where they like commentate over movies, and they have the volume like turned down a little bit so they can kind of like voice the characters but not.
Yeah.
And his acting is atrocious. He's like, there's one part where his friends like one of his friends kills himself, and he's like, "No, Jeff, why did you kill yourself?"
Because he spent like a bunch of memes talking about like people who killed themselves, quote unquote.
He's like, "Oh, why did you do this?" And then there's like one scene where like the actress wasn't underage, but like she was playing an underage character. And the character was like hitting on him. Like he wrote this script, so you have to think about that for a second. The character's like hitting on him, and he's like, "No, we can't be together. You're too young." And it's like, I don't know. It's just like
he writes, directs, and produces it, and acts in every single.
He makes himself like super epic in the movie. It's weird. And at the end, he's like, the movie's about like some sort of like spirit or ghost power or something. I can't remember. And at the end, he's like, "I'm going to talk to the media." And he stands in front of a green screen Capitol building, and he's like, the corporations are doing bad things. The media has done this. And then it just cuts to a montage of all the people that he's like critiquing just killing themselves because they're like so shocked by the news report. They're like, "Oh my gosh, he's right." And it just cuts to a bunch of them hanging themselves. And I'm like, what? Like, does he think that that's like what's gonna happen if he like addresses social issues? Like,
it's so vulgar.
I just like he writes himself to be like this like
stoic guy,
stoic like messiah character of modern society. Why, Jeff? Why did you kill yourself?
I remember seeing one video, like image of him like at a green screen factory, and like he jumps and he gets like really big. He goes from like big guy to tiny man.
I haven't seen that.
It's like a factory exploding. It's really funny. Hypothetically saying, tiny Neil Breen.
Tiny Neil Breen. Green screens. But yeah. But my gosh.
I got microphone hand.
Oh, podcasters, beware! Microphone hand. You're in for a scare. Buy this new powder.
buy this grip tape to help you hold the microphone.
We start using like gymnast chalk. like before we're like ready to record. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. And your mic's like, "Why is it so dirty? Why is it so dirty?"
There's just chalk all over.
Why is the microphone clogged with chalk? We run some kind of equipment. Oh, why is there chalk everywhere?
Okay, hypothetically, tiny chalk. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
We can't keep...
I just... Oh, man, we got to have him on. We got to have Ben Shapiro on.
Yeah, he's free.
He's free. He's not doing anything right now.
He can come to this college.
He can go, yeah.
No, people would love it if he came here.
Oh my gosh, if he held like a, I don't know, like not like a rally, but like a meeting or an event
at the basketball court.
It would be like swarming with people going, "Whoa!" Oh, okay. This is just a random side note before we end it. I was sitting in my human growth and development class.
You learn about sex.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. No, but there was a cadet in front of me, and in the entire class, he was scrolling through pictures of tanks. The entire time. And he's like, when he would get done with like the results of one Google page of images of tanks, he would look up a different model of tanks. Dude, from different eras.
I don't blame him. I do this exact same thing in history where I just look up really old clothes and I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But I just thought it was funny. Tanks.
Big tanks. Hypothetically, little tanks.
Little tanks, tiny tanks. Oh my gosh. It was just so funny. I was like, we're like, okay, yeah, the different stages of marriage. And I look over and it's like, World War II Thundercat tank model.
Thundercat, the guy with the bass guitar?
I don't know. Just like I don't know what they're called, but like they're like different models, you know. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. I think we learned a lot this session.
Why did you guys listen?
But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope we didn't offend you guys politically. I don't think we got too distinctly political.
I hope I offended y'all.
No,
I'm evil.
I'm edgy like a 13-year-old.
He's good cop. I'm bad cop. I'm aka the cool one.
Facts don't care about your feelings. But thank you guys for listening. And
go vote.
Go vote, please. Oh no, that's the wrong button.